right, our lesson today is section 6.1, and we're going to be finding the area of the region that's enclosed by two graphs. All right, so our first problem here, I have two equations. I've got y equals x squared minus 5 and y equals 3 minus x squared. So the first thing that I want to do is find out where those intersect, the x values where we intersect. Set these equal to each other. So our first one is x squared minus 5. We're going to set that equal to this y value, 3 minus x squared, and solve. So first add x squared. When I add x squared to both sides, I'll get 2x squared. And here I'll subtract 3. Negative 5 and a minus 3 is going to be a minus 8. So I set it to 0, and now solve. I'll factor out a 2. That's going to leave me x squared minus 4, which will factor to x plus 2 times x minus 2. All right. So our two x values where these intersect are going to be at x equals negative 2 and x equals positive 2. And that's going to be our limits of integration. Okay, so that's our first step. Now what we want to do is find out which graph is bigger, which graph is above the other. Now you can graph both of these and take a look at the graphs. That's one way, of course. Or you can pick an x value between negative 2 and positive 2, anything you want. I'm going to try 0. And pop it into each of these equations and see which one is bigger. And then you'll know that's going to be the top. So I'm going to just plug in a 0 here into this one. I would have y equals 0 squared minus 5, which is a negative 5 for this one. When I pop in a 0 for x in the second graph, I would have y equals 3 minus 0 squared, which gives me a y equals 3. And so that tells me which one is bigger. The 3 is bigger. This one is top. And this one is the bottom. And now I'm ready to do my integral. My x values are from negative 2 to 2. You're going to take the top equation minus the bottom equation. The top equation is 3 minus x squared minus the bottom equation, and the bottom equation was x squared minus 5. Make sure you distribute that minus sign. So I'm going from negative 2 to 2. Let's put everything together. That's going to be a negative x squared minus x squared is negative 2x squared. 3, and this will be a plus 5, would be a plus 8 dx. And then take our integral. So it's negative 2 x cubed over 3 plus 8x. And we're going from negative 2 to positive 2. And then just plug in. So when I pop in a 2, for x, subtract, and then we plug in our negative 2 for x. And it's just a matter now of popping everything in correctly into your calculator. So let's see what we've got. I've got a negative 16/3. This will be a plus 16 for the first part, minus. Over here, this ends up being a positive, right? Because that's negative 8 times negative 2, so that's a positive 16/3 inside. And then a minus 16. Plug all that in, and I'm getting a 64 over 3 for that one. So the basic formula is really just to take the integral of the top minus the bottom, integrate, and then pop in your limits of integration. Let's try another one. Here's y equals x plus 2 and y equals 4 minus x squared. Again, our first step, if we're going to find that area, is let's find out where these two intersect. So set those y's equal to each other. So I've got an x plus 2 equals 4 minus x squared, and then solve for x. Let's set it to 0. And add x squared and subtract 4, so that'll give me a minus 2 equaling my 0. Factor. That's an x plus 2 times an x minus 1. And so now we've got those limits of integration, right? X is negative 2, the other is x is positive 1. So we know where we're finding our integral from. Now we just want to find out which one is on the top, which one is on the bottom, in between x is negative 2 and positive 1. So I'm going to plug in a number between there. 0 is always easy to pop in, so again I'm going to pop in a 0. That's between negative 2 and 1. So in my first equation I would have y equals 0 plus 2, which is 2 for that height. And in my second equation, if I pop in a 0, I get y equals 4 minus the 0 squared, which gives me y equals 4. So when I take a look, I can see 4 is the bigger one. So this one is the top, and this one will be the bottom in that interval. And we're ready to put it together. We take the integral from negative 2 to 1. Top is this second equation, which was 4 minus x squared, minus, and then the bottom is this first equation, x plus 2 dx. Let's distribute, put everything together. Let's see, I've got a negative x squared. This will be a minus x. And then 4 minus 2 is a plus 2. Okay. Take your integral, which will be negative x cubed over 3 minus x squared over 2 plus 2x. And we're going to go from negative 2 to positive 1 here and plug in. So first we'll plug in our 1. Minus, and then we're going to pop in our negative 2 for x. Carefully. And see what we get. Carefully using our calculator. So this will be a negative 1/3 minus a 1/2 plus 2 for our first part. Minus, and now plugging in here, let's see, negative 2 cubed is negative 8. That's going to end up being a positive, right? 8/3 minus, that's 4 over 2, which is just a 2, and then minus a 4. Put everything together, and I have 9/2 for this one. 9/2.